Alrighty, we're back again. It's a Wednesday, so that means legs. It's humid, very humid. Um, I think it's gonna be a good leg day. I got a little bit of fuel in, whether you got your own fuel or you just go to the gym for the love of the game. Either one works. um, so I thought about what I was going to talk about on the way here, and I think the subject is going to be excuses. Too often do I hear some excuse to why somebody didn't make it to the gym, and I get it. There's some times where you just can't make it that day, but making a habit of always having an excuse, that's a problem. You're never going to get any progress that way. Never, ever have I seen somebody make progress with a constant line of excuses. Now, am I going to judge somebody for missing the gym once or twice during the week? Or even, missing a week because they were sick? No, I won't. But I am going to judge somebody who always has something to say about why they, aren't performing well. And then that's just, how I am. I'm gonna call you out on your BS. I'm not gonna sit there and allow you to be less than what you could be, Like, I would want somebody to do the same thing for me. I would want somebody to push me as hard as they possibly can, regardless of how it would make me feel. One of my good buddies that goes to the gym complimented me and then also stated that if he says it, he means it, because he's one of the guys that would tell you, if you had something to work on. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot because, that's how people grow. Constructive criticism is still a thing. I don't think telling somebody what they need to work on is a bad thing. I do, however, do not appreciate the insults that some people throw around thinking it's funny when in reality you're just, being a douche. Which is, you can't really stop somebody from being a douche. All you can do is just ignore it. Hopefully they'll grow up a little bit, but that doesn't always happen. And I mean, yeah, there's really nothing you can do. Nothing you can do about somebody who just projects. That's the best way to think about it is, and I mean, in a lot of the cases it's true, it's just them projecting their insecurities onto you for no reason. And I mean, hey, if it's hard to not let it get to you, the best thing that you can do is just ignore it. Insulting them back isn't going to do anything. Not that I haven't or don't, throw something back. But, like, it's not really an insult. Because, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just defending myself. It is what it is. I'm there to lift, talk. I talk a lot. That's why I'm there for so long. But, there's nothing wrong with that. I do, however, need to get a membership at the 24-hour gym. It's a little bit closer to me because I need some heavier dumbbells. But in time. That'll happen in time. whenever the time comes to, I don't even know when the sign-ups are because I'm not seeing it on the Facebook, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see if I even get a membership there. I haven't decided. It is expensive having 2 memberships, but you got to know where your priorities are. And my priorities are the gym. I really don't have any other priority above that other than, I would say there's one personal thing, but that is just as important. But, I mean, other than that, all my money goes back into, food and supplements and making sure I hit my protein goals. That's the main priority. Sometimes you run out of money. My nose is itchy. Gonna hit legs, my buddy. You might see him, you might not. I've never recorded in this gym. I don't know if I should, being that it's more of a family-based gym, I'd say, but I think I'm allowed them. I've seen people doing it. We'll see. We will see. But I think I'm gonna get in there and get after it. So maybe I'll see you in there, maybe I won't. All right. So the post-workout talk, a little bit belated, but that's because I went on a side quest to Walmart. And, that'll happen. I hit legs, just like I said I would. And honestly, one of the better workouts that I've had this past month, I would say. I did 4 sets of hack squats. First was pretty heavy. Then my second set was, my first set was lighter. My second set was heavier. And my third set and fourth set was pretty heavy as well. The gym that I go to had a challenge board. I did the challenge. Didn't quite make it, to the number 1 spot, but I think 445 is a respectable number. I probably could have got 10 to 20 more pounds, but I wasn't really interested in doing any more than what I had on there. So at least got a number on the board. After that, I moved to leg extensions. I had a probably 3-minute rest period between hack squats and leg extensions, which it works for me. I did 2 sets of single leg extensions, leg extensions, and then both till failure, a little bit past failure, working out with my buddy today. So got a little bit of assisted reps. But then I did 1 set of double leg until failure. And again, assisted reps. And then I moved on to leg extensions. No. RDLs. It's been a little bit of a day. Moved on to RDLs. I did 3 sets of RDLs. Then I moved on to the leg curl type machine. And I did 2 sets there for a total of 5 sets of hamstrings. And then I moved to calf raises. I did 4 sets of calf raises. I actually did a little bit of the abductor machine today. A little bit outside my territory, but I was convinced. It's been worse. I've done it one other time. Maybe I just didn't have it set up right, but this time didn't feel nearly as bad. But I did 2 sets of that, and then I played basketball for about an hour and a half. So I got at the gym around 4. I left around 7:30. So overall, pretty good day. My quads were definitely feeling it, for sure. You ever see that one meme where it's King Julian in the wheelchair saying he can't move it. That was me. Because let me tell you, my legs were extremely tired. Still are. The basketball was rough. I threw it down a couple times, dunking and such. Pretty, I got some hops. For a 200-pound guy, I can jump pretty well. Other than that, not really too much to say about the lift, other than I would say it was an S-tier lift, for sure. Headed over to Walmart and got me a bag of Doritos. I was feeling frisky. I was eating in the Walmart parking lot, talking to a friend. At some point, I'll record a lift and include it in, but for now, it's just me yapping in the car. For now, it's just me, talking to an audience that I don't have. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with that. I do want to see how that sounds if it's less staticky. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit, my noise cancellation, to see if it sounds a little bit better, because I had a little bit of background noise the last video that I edited in SAW. So we're gonna see how that goes. I didn't hop on the Stairmaster today, which I planned to, but there were some guys playing pickup basketball, and I enjoy myself a little bit of pickup basketball, so I didn't mind not doing cardio on the Stairmaster, even though I would have rather done the Stairmaster, but it was getting late and I'd already been at the gym for 3 hours, so I wanted to leave. Plus I have work in the morning, which is fantastic. I'm very excited. But other than that, not really too much to say about the lift. It was pretty good. I'm just gonna go home and eat some food. Pretty much what I do every night. I think I have some chicken bacon ranch pizza waiting for me in the fridge. So, I can't really complain. It's pretty, I'm a big fan of the chicken bacon ranch. That's what I had last night. And I know. It's not really too great for the macros, but that'll happen. If I had to say the main cause of people not gaining muscle at, a beginner level, I would say it is probably, one of two reasons. They're not eating enough food, or they're not training. I guess one of three reasons. Went from one to three, but three reasons, you're not getting the results that you want to at a beginner level. You're not eating good enough, you're not training hard enough, and you're not training consistently. That is 100% the reason why, the newer lifters in the gym are not seeing results. I mean, sure, your body's going to change a little bit if you continue eating the same things. You're going to get leaner. You're going to put on some muscle, but I mean, you're not going to really see the beginner gains, which if you take advantage of the beginner gains, I mean, you're going to put on some serious muscle, regardless of, your body type or anything. You're gonna see some serious muscle gains if you just eat, train with intensity, and train regularly. And by regularly, I mean somebody's training at least 3 to 4 times a week. I've trained 3 to 4 times a week in times where that's the only time, like I used to play sports 3 to 4 times a week. I still saw growth. But now that I'm training, almost every day of the week, if not every day of the week, you see definitely the progress is noticeable. Now, there are plenty of studies that'll, at least recently, the real science behind muscle growth it has nothing to do with how sore your muscle is or breaking down your muscle. It's all about, the cells, the protein synthesis. And, the 2 days after your lift are the most important days to gain muscle. Rest, how you eat, protein intake. The 2 days after your lift, and I mean, this just makes sense to me, at least, the next 24 hours has to be the most crucial, because you need enough, because when you're lifting, your brain is like, your brain's recruiting your muscles to, recruiting the muscle fibers that grow. If you're training with enough intensity, it's recruiting the muscles that will grow to do the work. And if those muscles do not have the correct amount of nutrients to grow in the next 2 days after you use them, because your brain's sending stuff to those muscles to help it, because you put a load, your muscle's under a load. The simplest way to put it, your muscle under a load, and your brain's like, oh, we're struggling with this weight every single week. I need to make that muscle bigger. And then it sends, protein synthesis, whatever, science. But, the easiest way to understand it is your brain wants your muscle to grow if it's struggling week to week. And that's the only way that your muscle is going to grow. But, the 2 days after your lift are the most important. If you train consistently, that's going to be every day. Lifting Monday through Friday, you're not going to have a day where you don't need to worry about, sleep, or you just need to have a good schedule of, protein intake and, your macronutrients. You need to have, you know, that every single day, or you're gonna grow. But like, to maximize your growth, you really want those next 2 days are, crucial for sure. Make sure you're eating well, resting, the whole 9 yards. Which, for most people, I would say it's a pretty big adjustment. I used to be the guy to stay up till 3 a.m. playing video games. But trust me when I tell you, you're going to feel better getting more sleep in most aspects. But it depends on person to person how much sleep you need. For me, when I train hard, I need some sleep. And I'm in no way the best. I'm in no way the best sleeper. I suck at going to bed at a decent hour, but lately I've been trying to do better. Last night I failed miserably, but I've been a little bit better for sure. I'm gonna lock in here pretty quick when I start cutting, but I still have a little bit of time before I have to worry about that. Everything's a little bit more lenient when you're bulking, because you're loaded up on carbs, and your body has everything it needs to build muscle. The only thing you really need to worry about is getting proper rest. And if you're training in a reasonable manner, which reasonable manner I mean not a ton of volume, your muscles recover in 2 days. Two days and your muscles is ready to go again. You definitely could go and hit that muscle group after 24 hours, but I think 48 hours is an optimal amount of rest between muscle groups. And that is if you train that muscle group, pretty hard. If you're just, which I don't really do it. I don't really do that, but some people their split will look like, chest with a little bit of back, and then they'll hit like legs or something, and then they'll hit back with a little bit of arms, and if you want that muscle group to grow, like I was hitting shoulders 4 times a week for a while there, where I would, on my chest day, I would do chest, back with a little bit of shoulders, and then I would do arms with a lot of shoulders, and then I would hit legs. Because I would do a little bit of shoulders just to get some activation and, a little bit of tension. It would go pretty heavy on the first day, but a little bit of shoulders for me is probably like 2 to 3 sets of heavy lateral raises, just to throw it in there. And then my next day, I would do 4 to 5 sets of slow, controlled weight and reps, getting a decent amount of tension on my shoulder and really pushing. So that's what I would do, and honestly, it's been working. I've been noticing a considerable amount of growth on my shoulders, and considerable amount of growth everywhere the past couple months. Post shoulder surgery, I've been doing well. I was 170-ish pounds after my shoulder surgery. I was like, pre-shoulder surgery, I was around 200 pounds. Pretty close than I am now. A little bit softer because I was bulking then as well. Not nearly the muscle mass that I have obtained recently, but strong. I was still strong, but I don't know if I was stronger than I am now. I might be, but shoulder surgery kind of put me in the dumps, set my progress back by not to make excuses, because I just talked about that, but where I'd be at right now if I didn't have shoulder surgery, it would be I would say definitely a noticeable difference between me now and if I didn't have shoulder surgery. I'd probably have quite a bit more muscle mass, but that's what you just gotta. I trained as hard as I could after when I could after my shoulder surgery, and I'm happy with where I'm at. But I definitely it could have been better. And there's nothing really you can do. It was from baseball, and there's nothing really you can do about injuries. If you get injured, and you have to fix it, you have to fix it. I mean, it's going to hurt your gym time for sure, but it's hard not to get discouraged. I mean, I did, but you just got to recover, do your physical therapy, and get back at it. There's really nothing you can do to get around it. It sucked. I lost like 20 pounds of muscle. And there's things I could have done maybe to help mitigate that, but like, it is mentally, it's hard on your mental state, seeing yourself, seeing, all your progress just go down the drain. It's horrible. And it's like probably the worst time of my life there for a little bit. I mean, I was 160, 170 pounds after, putting on 30 pounds of muscle. So, it wasn't really the greatest time of my life. But, after a year, year and 6 months of recovery, I finally got back at it, and I'd say I'm back to 100% in terms of how my shoulder's doing. It's actually a little bit stronger than my other one, which is not great. I'm always a little bit careful with my right shoulder as compared to my left, because my left is the one I had shoulder surgery on. It's good. I still do a little bit of strengthening exercises before lifting every once in a while, but usually I warm up pretty kinetically. I do the exercise that I'm going to do to warm up. It's just I do it in a lighter fashion. Yeah, I mean, my phone cut out again, but my shoulder's good. It's pretty much recovered, so, I mean, I can't really complain. But I have arrived at the abode. I'm going to go in and have me some food. So, time to eat.